Welcome back. Today is March 15th, 2026. There's a lot of news to process today. Take a breath. We're going to look at the signals together and find the what you need to know. Let us start at the water edge because things are moving quickly in the Middle East. The Trump administration is pushing hard to assemble an international naval task force with a very specific goal. They want to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This is the world's most critical oil passage, and it is currently under an Iranian blockade. While the United States is signaling that a military move is coming to force that door open, our allies are not rushing in. They are understandably hesitant to put their ships and sailors into an active combat zone. Think about this for a second. If a naval confrontation starts there, we are looking at an immediate and massive spike in energy prices that will hit every single one of us. It is a high-stakes game of chicken on the high seas, and the ripples will be felt at every gas pump in the country. At the same time, the White House has officially rejected any immediate negotiations or back-channel deals with Tehran. Despite signals that Iran might be looking for a way out, our administration is holding out for a total surrender or a complete regime collapse. For you and me, this means the conflict is not ending tonight or even next week. This hardline stance guarantees that we are looking at a much longer road ahead, with a higher risk of more casualties and prolonged instability. On top of the physical war, Tehran has now officially declared economic war on United States and Israeli banking interests. This is not just rhetoric. Major financial institutions like Citi and HSBC have already begun evacuating their staff from regional hubs like Dubai and Qatar. The destabilization of those financial centers threatens the stability of the global banking system and, eventually, the health of your own retirement portfolio. This brings the war directly to your kitchen table and your daily budget. Energy Secretary Chris Wright just gave a very blunt warning to the public, saying there are no guarantees for gas price relief anytime soon. The administration is clearly shifting its tone, moving away from promises of a quick war and instead trying to manage our expectations for a long-term energy crisis. Here is why this matters at your dinner table tonight. Sustained energy costs drive up the price of absolutely everything, from the clothes you buy to the commute you make every morning. We are looking at a second wave of inflation that we are all going to have to navigate together. And it is not just the fuel in your car that is at risk. Because of that blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, essential fertilizer components are being held up. If this is not resolved before the spring planting season, industry leaders are warning that a global food shortage is almost inevitable. For us here at home, that means you should expect significant increases in your grocery bills and potential shortages of basic food staples by late summer. It is a sobering reminder of how a conflict thousands of miles away can change what is available in your local supermarket. The reality of the human cost is also becoming much more visible. We have received the names of the 6 airmen who were killed in a refueling tanker crash in Iraq. It is a heavy reminder that our people are already in the thick of it, facing high operational risks every single day to support this air campaign. Their sacrifice brings the reality of this war home in a way that headlines alone cannot. At the same time, there is a growing concern about how this war is being conducted. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has been advocating for a no-quarter approach. To legal experts and military leaders, that sounds like a policy of taking no prisoners, which would be a radical departure from the Geneva Convention. If the rules of engagement shift toward unrestricted warfare, it puts our own troops in even greater danger if they are ever captured. It creates a cycle of violence that is incredibly hard to walk back from. Adding to this volatility is the situation inside Iran itself. Intelligence suggests the regime is facing a massive power vacuum. There is internal friction over who should take over after the late supreme leader, and if the leadership is incapacitated or divided during an active war, we are dealing with a high risk of irrational actor behavior. Leadership instability in a nuclear threshold state is something we have to watch very closely, as it could lead to a total regional collapse. We are also seeing the shadows of this conflict reaching into our own neighborhoods. Intelligence has recently linked a domestic synagogue attack in Michigan to a Hezbollah commander in Lebanon. This is a terrifying shift in the landscape of our security. We are no longer just talking about lone wolf actors. We are seeing signs of direct proxy warfare being carried out on American soil. It means the risks of domestic terrorism are elevated, and it is something we have to be mindful of in our own communities. While the government manages these threats, there is also a debate happening about our rights here at home. The FCC chairman has suggested that broadcast licenses are not property rights and could be revoked based on how networks cover the war. This follows a lot of criticism from the president about media outlets that have been skeptical of the war progress. This represents a huge shift in the federal government power to potentially censor the news you see and hear. At the same time, we are facing a crisis of our own making at our airports. A month-long Department of Homeland Security shutdown has left TSA and border agents working without pay. Airline CEOs are now begging Congress to end the standoff, warning that the national aviation infrastructure is at a breaking point. If TSA staffing collapses, it is not just about a long line at the airport, it is a compromise of our safety in the skies and a major blow to our economy. Even as the headlines focus on the war, other global and domestic shifts are quietly happening. We have learned that North Korean operatives are using AI to get remote jobs at Western firms, funneling hundreds of millions of dollars back to their weapons programs. It means the world of remote work is now a front in a global security game. If you work in tech or corporate infrastructure, the person on the other side of the screen might not be who they claim to be. In the middle of all this, high-level trade talks are opening in Paris between the United States and China. This is a strategic move to secure the Eastern Front while we are so heavily committed in the Middle East. The outcome of these talks will likely determine the cost of your electronics and manufactured goods for the next decade. Closer to home, Washington state has just implemented an income tax for the first time in 93 years. It is a tax on millionaires, and we are already seeing a flight of capital as wealthy individuals move to neighboring states. This could trigger a massive reshuffling of economic power between the states. And finally, for those of you in the Midwest, please keep an eye on the sky. A massive bomb cyclone is moving through, bringing record blizzards and 70-mile-per-hour winds. It is already forcing closures and travel warnings. It is a reminder that even when the world feels like it is in chaos, we still have to contend with the power of nature. The news was heavy, but you are not carrying it alone. Stay connected. Stay present. We are right here with you. See you in the next brief.